Hello, this is Jalen Jackson, and this is a public service announcement for world history following the tortures of Jon Burge and the failings of the Chicago Police Department. There are three main points we're going to be following throughout this public service announcement. One, being the factors that allowed the scandals to happen. Two, how the people worked to achieve justice for the victims. And three, what we learned about racism. Before we get started, I would like to ask you all if any of you have heard of Jon Burge torturings. Figuring that many of us are currently taking world history and doing this service learning project, then I figure we all say yes. But if you're not familiar with Jon Burge and the crimes committed by him and his department, then you have found the right video. In this video, we will be discussing his torturings and the reasons behind it and the repercussions following it. In 1971, during Nixon's presidency, his administration were abiding an illegal arrest of African Americans by covering up by declaring a war on drugs. This caused many drug arrests, which in turn caused a spike in arrests and imprisonments from 500,000 in 1980 to over 400,000 in 1997. Throughout the 1980s, public concern about drug use built due to the media's portrayals of people addicted to crack cocaine. In 1981, Ronald Reagan took over presidency, and his wife, Nancy Reagan, started one of her own slogans called Just Say No. Nancy Reagan's slogan, Just Say No, was popularized among elementary schools and among young children. This fueled the war on drugs and prisons rates notably. This led to mandatory sentencing being introduced, which left many people to this day facing life sentences for being in possession of lesser amount of crack. Lastly, stop and frisk, also known as the Terry stop, was implemented in 1968. This is yet another practice which allows the police to stop anyone they deem suspicious and search them. Not only does this go against the 14th Amendment of having equal protections, it also continues the cycle of criminalization of individual races on the streets, caused by a faulty system which uses the legal system to cover up their systematic racism. These laws allow many horrors and crimes to be committed by police officers and be deemed as just due to their status and authority. This is seen in many different cases throughout history and in Chicago. 22-year-old Rakia Boyd was walking with friends in the alleyway when an off-duty police officer, Dante Servin, shot at the group of people because he thought one of the men had a weapon, which also turned out to be a cell phone, which led to Rakia Boyd being shot in the back of the head and dying on impact. Her killer, Dante Servin, resigned days before his testimony in front of the judge and jury. He was unfortunately acquitted of all crimes on April 20th, 2015. This verdict caused an outrage among the Chicago citizens, especially after the death of Laquan McDonald, after he was shot fatally 16 times the year before. Following his death, only 2% of claims against officers were upheld, and Servin was not in that 2%. The campaign slogan Ram Rep Now was implemented to pass the Burge torture survivors reparations that had been formally stalled by the Chicago City Council since October 2013. This movement was intended to pressure members of the Chicago Council to bring reparations to a vote for the victims, some being Andrew Wilson and his brother Jackie Wilson, who were arrested on February 14th of 1982 for the accused murder of Chicago police officers William Fye and Richard O'Brien. Andrew alleged that he was severely beaten, shocked, and electrocuted. These methods were used to coerce a confession and is often seen in some of his other victims, Marvin Revesz, Anthony Holmes, Gregory Banks, Eric Kane, and over 3,000 more victims. Unfortunately, Burge was not convicted for the torturings, but he was found guilty for lying under oath in 2003 for a civil case when he denied involvement in the torture and abuse of suspects at the Chicago Police Department Area 2 facility. He was convicted of 2 counts of obstruction of justice and 1 count of perjury. Despite only serving 3 of his years of sentencing, the family and friends of the victim continue to make sure that their names will never be forgotten, and they continue to fight for their freedom.